Hey y'all, out here at Alloway's Hot Rod Shop, and he's got a 1960 Starliner that he just got finished up. That I think they debuted it in Nashville. But anyways, it's a cool car. Y'all are gonna enjoy it. Let me get the camera turned around. We'll take a quick look at it.
Bobby, thanks so much for giving me some time today, brother.
Thank you, Scotty. Thanks for being here.
Tell me a little bit about this. Was it Starliner?
60 Starliner. We built this car for a customer of ours, David Walsh. Owns Walsh's Honda down in Georgia. We built him a 32 Victoria a few years ago, won Street Rod of the Year with it, and he mentioned that he'd really like to have a Starliner, and a friend of mine down in Cleveland, Tennessee had this car, and we went and bought it for him. It was a white car, just an original car, and then he kept it for, I guess he probably kept it for a year and then brought it up here for us to start on it. And actually didn't tell us anything to do, just said build him a car, so that's what we did.
That's probably best, right?
Works good for me.
I hear that's the way it works.
It works good
anyway, so yeah. Now, of course, it turned out beautiful. Were there any challenges to building something? Because it's a 1 year only, right?
It's always a challenge to build a 1 year only car, because especially very few things are repoed for this car. You know, rubber. There's a guy that's making a piece of stainless or two for it now, but you know, like the back glass. The back glass was, I finally found one of those. It was just like hen's teeth trying to find some of that stuff. That was probably the biggest challenge, other than the car's, you know, a little over 19 feet long and black.
Is there any emblems or anything like that you've left off the cars? Usually you're not big on making a bunch of body mods on something.
I don't. The cars were pretty to start out with. We took some badges off of it and took some. It had some little rifle sights on the front fenders on the moldings, and we took those off and just cleaned it up a little bit. That's about all. I took there's what they call washboards that goes behind the quarters, behind the rear tires. We left those off, and just a few. We left more stuff off of it than we put on it, I guess.
What condition was it in when you got it?
The car was a very, very good car. Very good car. And that's the key, is start with a good car, especially if it's a 1 year only car and you can't find anything for it. You'd want to start with it with probably the best stuff you can get. So,
did you do anything up here in the front as far as tuck the bumpers or anything like that?
We tucked the bumpers and you know, it's stuff that you would never notice other than if you got it up beside another car. You know, we'll always tuck the bumpers and do some of that stuff, but nothing unless you really had the car beside another car that you could tell we done anything. So
I got you. What about up underneath? What's going on under there?
Morrison chassis. Art's me and him's been doing business since, gosh, forever, and it's got a Morrison chassis under it. It's got a Causey Boss 429 in it. I like the big motors. I mean, they never do use all of the big motor, but it sure is cool. It sounds good.
Uh-huh.
It's got a Holcomb interior in it, Tremec 5-speed. Billet specialty wheels that they make specially for me. They make a set of slots and a set of spokes, and
so there's two.
Oh,
I just got hip to the fact there was one set.
No,
right?
There's a spoke set and my wife says that I'm in a rut, but really she says it's a ditch, because I like black and the same wheels and all. But I mean, there's sort of these old spoke wheels were tuck off of like an American wheel, and old American 5-spoke, and then the slots were tucked off of an old Halibran or an ET, and they've been around forever and ever and ever, and they sort of don't go out of style.
Right.
So that's the reason I like to use them, and they look different on each car too. So
what tire size and wheel size are you using on this?
This car's got 17s and 20s on it, and we use a lot of 17s and 20s on about everything.
Did you have to tub this at all?
Oh, yeah. You know, you start with the tires and wheels, and then you build the car around the tires and wheels. So, yeah, the inner fenders have been moved. Everything. You just can't put this tire size on a stock body car as far as wheel tubs and inner fenders and stuff like that.
So, when doing a car like this, it's kind of like a body swap, right? You have like a Morrison chassis and a motor, and then you take a body that you like and make it fit that.
Basically, we take the old sheet metal and just, I mean, there's really nothing, drivetrain, no frame, nothing from the original car here, other than just the shell itself. So actually, we're producing a product
Right.
Instead of restoring a car, we're doing a product, and it's something that they don't have to have, which is great that they want it. So they're
Nice.
not customers or friends. And you know, when you build a car for a guy, that's what I've always said, you're sort of married to him for a year or two, and you really want to be able to get along, because they don't have to build a car. And if it's not fun for them, then why should they do it?
Steve,
Scotty,
boy, you did it again, didn't you?
thank you.
Boy, and that was a lot. I mean, that took a whole herd of cows, didn't
There's
it?
a lot of red in this thing. Look at that package.
Man.
It took a whole high just for that package tray back here.
I bet it did, yeah. No kidding, but man, did it turn out nice, right?
Yeah, it did. It looks really nice.
And then a
Customer
white
loves it.
headliner.
Yeah, white headliner.
Huh.
Yeah, David Walsh was sort of questioning until we got it in there, and he's like, "Yeah, it does look cool looking." So,
He questioned?
well, he just was wanting to know if it looked better red or white. So
I got
the white
you.
looked good.
Yeah, no, it looks great. I love them gauges in there too.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is that Alloway's Hot Rods does not give us a lot to talk about, right? Because all they do is have you make a really cool custom stock looking interior.
Yeah, it's just like that console looks like a factory style console.
wouldn't
but
know it.
It's all handmade.
Yeah.
You know, all of this is a bent aluminum that's been ball milled and everything. We've made all the boots and, you know, made all this stuff to where it looks like an original. We put chrome on the bottom of of it too, to give it that, you know, that original style look.
What are these seats out of?
These are again 65 Thunderbird seats.
Are you buying those aftermarket or you finding them
No,
somewhere?
we buy them and then have to take them all. Actually, Bobby will take them all apart, sandblast them, paint them all, and then send all this to have chrome plated. And then we actually make the seat foam and the design and everything and put it all back together.
Holy smokes.
So we start out pretty much with a 65 model Thunderbird frame, and then we make everything else after that.
But he goes and finds those, salvages them
Yeah,
somehow.
well, yeah. Between us both, I've got a bunch of sets at the shop also.
And they work really good. They look good in a Chevrolet. They look good in a Plymouth. They look good in about
in anything. Yep.
No, very nice job, Steve.
Thank you. Again, if you notice, we did a 3D door panel, but these are not as deep as
Right.
some of the cars we did. And it carries on into the back also, and it custom made the back seat and everything. And all these buttons right here, I hand make all of these right here. And
bar or
drill
something?
them, polish them, and then have them chrome plated. So
Like you take bar and clip it down or something?
yeah, I take aluminum, shape it and bend it, and cut it.
Because it looks like something you could get again factory.
Right, it looks like something you could have bought back in the day.
What'd you do with that steering wheel? Is that a factory steering wheel? Oh,
This
looks like-
right here, I think he had Lacard to wrap this one.
Oh, okay.
So this one is pretty cool. It's
It
got
came
the
that
same-
way when you
but
got
not
it.
a big thick wrap.
Right, right. No, I like it. Very cool. Again, nice job. Is that cool touch leather too?
It is.
It's
It's
just
all
in red?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's called Finesse lipstick.
Is that what it is?
Mhm.
I like the feel of it. Even if it didn't do what it does,
Yeah.
I still think it looks good and I like the feel of it.
Yeah, and it's not. It don't have a real high shine to it.
No,
It's got
that's
more
what I'm
like a
saying.
satin
Yeah,
finish.
yeah. That satin finish is what I think it looks elegant and rich in it, right?
Right.
No, very nice.
Man, as wide as the car is, then you have a narrow trunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's got storage and stuff in here, battery and on-off switch, and so everything is
Wheel
electronic
tones,
is back
yeah.
in here, and it's all hidden with slide doors.
On both sides.
Yeah, and we put a slide door on both sides of this. He's got his computer and stuff back on that side over there. So yeah. So it's
This
all
one-
utilized. It's just you just cover up that stuff.
And this one has a gas cap on the outside. So
Yeah.
you don't have to have it out there.
Right.
And then you put the pads in the middle though.
Yeah, this one we put the black pads in the
like
middle
that.
of this one right here, just to clean it up a little bit.
No, I like when you do that. It gives it a nice texture to it, right?
Yeah.
No, clean and simple. It works.
I'm a big fan of opening the hood to your builds, Bobby, because it looks like a ring sitting in a ring box. Perfectly centered. Look how gorgeous that is.
Yeah, but you build a car around the tires and wheels, and then you put the suspension where the suspension's going to go, and then you try to put the motor somewhere in between all of this stuff. The motor can be moved a little bit, but the suspension has to be, your steering has to be in a certain place, your tires and wheel has to be there to make it work, and then the motor, we can fudge a little bit with the motors. That's the reason you see on this motor it's so far back. We had to get it back further enough to clear the rack and do some things like that, and enough back further enough so we can get a fan to cool it. And a lot of people, when they start doing this stuff, they don't realize you need to cool a car, so you need enough room to put a fan, a good radiator, and that type of stuff. So So the spark plugs on this one are on the top, so that's easy.
Right.
But when you're trying to put, I always said, 10 pounds in a 5-pound poke, it's a little harder. And this car is very big, but we still had problems with, as far as the suspension goes. When that happens, when you get a car this low and you try to make it turn left and right without hitting, then you have to narrow the front suspension. Well, when you narrow the front suspension on it, you narrow the engine compartment too. And it is, as big as this car is, it gets real tight. So, well.
And see, too, I think that, again, you've convinced me I don't know nothing. But when you look at it, I think that you do this from an aesthetic standpoint. But really, this is where the motor has to go.
No, it has to. And you try to make it look as good as you can with what you've got to deal with. It's just the air cleaner. We had to make the air cleaner for the car, and see, it goes back under the cowl, and it had to be dropped down enough, and we had to make it come down over the carburetors, because it's setting actually below the distributor. And Ford used to make, or MSD used to make, a crab cap distributor that was quite a bit lower than that, but they no longer make it. So we had to make an air cleaner to go behind it to set down below it. This car's got 2 4s on it, so.
And it doesn't have any kind of cowl hood or anything, so that was it.
I think you should be able to get them under the hood. I'm not much on scoops, unless, well, I'm saying that, and there's a Corvette sitting over here with a scoop on it, but it's a factory.
And it is carbureted, not fuel injected.
It's carbureted, yes.
You're kind of going back that way, right?
I like the way they sound. You can work on them. David could work on them. Just about everybody can work on a carburetor. It's that fuel injection sometimes gets beyond us, and you really need a good computer programmer to do that. And they're great. They work fabulous. It's just I like the old school sound out of carburetors. You can't beat that sound, especially in these big old motors, these camshaft stems. A lot of times fuel injection will take the cam out of one because it'll smooth it out where
right.
like it should be running smooth.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, you have your own wheels, so I'm going to ask, you have your own exhaust too, because your cars sound a lot alike, right?
Yes, Bola makes a exhaust system for us, which is actually for the big block engines, and you can buy that. It's a full stainless muffler, where these cars, a lot of these cars sit a long time, and when you start them up to move them, they'll make heat, and then when they cool off, they make water. And that'll rust the exhaust and rust the pipes out on it. So the exhaust system we're using now is Borla.
So there you go, from Alloway's Hot Rod Shop, a 1960 Starliner. Hope you all have enjoyed it. See ya! Hey y'all, don't forget to visit ScottieDTV.com for more cool content and an easy way to search the hundreds of videos I have posted. Either click the link in the description or the logo at the end of this video.